Hey everyone, welcome back to TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2. I am Dark, and today we're going to be doing Day 23, The Grinch Strikes Again. So to get started with this task, I've gone ahead and deployed the attack box, as well as the box attached to this task. If you want to follow along, go ahead and do that right now. Now note, with this task, I won't be going through necessarily everything at the end for walking through the challenge, as the questions kind of follow what we're going to be doing in the task in the actual text. So that being said, you've been warned. You're going to see answers pop up as we do this. We're going to go ahead and dive right in to Day 23 right now then. The mayhem at the Best Festival Company continues. Man, these guys just really cannot get a break. McEager receives numerous emails and phone calls about a possible ransomware attack affecting all of the endpoints in the network. McEager knows that the endpoints which are affected with the malware don't have any backup copies, but luckily on his workstation he has backups enabled, as you should. Task: investigate the malware and restore the files to their original state. You can use the attack box and Ramina to connect to the remote machine via RDP. We're going to go ahead and pull up Ramina right now. So we'll do that, and then we can just press cancel on that. We don't need the key ring, and we'll have that there. So we can dive right in. To get the full experience of simulated malware attack, there are some settings you'll need to configure on Ramina to view the wallpaper on the remote machine. So go ahead and launch Ramina now. When the application loads, click the ellipsis to access the preferences. So we'll go ahead and do that. Looks like it might not be showing on mine. Should be right over here. And if we go to preferences, you can also do this with Control P. We can go ahead and start accessing the settings that we want. If we go to RDP, we can go ahead and if we do poor fastest, we can go ahead and select that we want to see the wallpaper. This is very common for ransomware to encrypt the wallpaper, as that's a file saved on the system and it's going to encrypt it anyways. All right, so we've got that set. We could go ahead and click close, and we are going to fill in the settings here to connect. Press the plus, and then we're going to go ahead and fill this out. Now, note your IP that you're connecting to is going to be different than mine, so make sure you don't just type in the one that I'm connecting to, as it won't get you very far. Administrator, and then it looks like our password is Snowflakes. Let's see if I type that correctly. And then we can go ahead and set this to remote FX 32 BPP. We'll go ahead and save that as our default, and then click connect. And we'll have to accept our certificate here. We'll give it a moment, press OK, and then we'll go ahead and let that load. That'll take a few minutes to load. Note, this is a Windows machine that we are remoting into, so sometimes it can take up to 5 minutes to load. So if it's being a little slow, go grab a drink and then come back and it should be ready to go. Except the certificate. I did not know that was going to be the wallpaper. That is wonderful. Oh gosh. All right. Ransomware is a real threat that enterprise defenders and casual computer users need to defend and prepare against. According to Wikipedia, ransomware is a type of malware that threatens to publish the victim's data or perpetually block access to it unless a ransom is paid. It can be frightening, or it be a frightening experience to log into a machine only to realize that malware has encrypted all of your important documents. There are numerous security products that can be implemented in the security stack to catch this type of malware. If ransomware infects an endpoint, depending on the actual malware, there may be a decryptor made available by a security vendor. So sometimes you can just Google what you have for the malware that's on your computer. If you have ransomware, God forbid, sometimes it happens. Hopefully not. If you're watching this video, you should have endpoint protection. Windows Defender doesn't count. If not, then you must rely on backups to restore your machines to the last working state along with its files. You should have backups enabled as well. If you don't have backups enabled, you should do that right now. Like, stop watching the video, go enable backups, get an endpoint. Please don't just buy the cheapest one or go get a free one. It won't work. They're terrible. If it's free, you are the product, so keep that in mind. Windows has a built-in feature that can assist with this for the backups. which is very cool. We're going to be talking about the volume shadow copy service, which creates shadow copies of the actual volumes that we have, as the name would imply. That's effectively just a full copy of the hard drive that takes a look at the diff between each versions. That allows us to just roll back everything that happened, and it's like the malware never even happened. And then you can go out and buy endpoint protection and, not get infected in the first place. So the volume shadow copy service, VSS, coordinates the actions that are required to create a consistent shadow copy, also known as a snapshot or a point-in-time copy of the data that is to be backed up. And that's the official definition. You can find that on Microsoft's website. Malware writers know of this Windows feature and write their code in the malware to look for these files and delete them. Doing so makes it impossible to recover from a ransomware attack unless you have an offline or offsite backup, which you also should have. Not necessarily as important because it's a little bit harder to do as a home user, but if you're watching this, you probably have a better idea of what you're doing as far as home IT goes, and it is worthwhile to buy a external hard drive and copy these files off because, you should have backups set up along with an endpoint. So not all malware deletes the volume shadow copies though, and you want to take a look out that, God forbid, again, something like this happens, you should check and see if these are there first. Before diving into VSS on the endpoint, let's talk briefly regarding the task scheduler. The task scheduler enables you to automatically perform routine tasks on a chosen computer. Task scheduler does this by monitoring whatever criteria you choose, referred to as triggers, and then executing the task when those criteria are met. Again, official definition just from the Microsoft website. Malware writers might have the malware create a scheduled task in order for the malware to run at a specific desired day or time or trigger. This is often done to establish persistence as well, and when you get into advanced red teaming, putting things in the task scheduler is a nice way to make sure that maybe they reboot the computer. Maybe they when it turns back on, a task runs and it just lets you right back in. The task scheduler utility has been conveniently placed in the taskbar for you. It looks like I'm going to have to scroll down a little bit. I have my things all zoomed in so we can see a little bit better. Man, I love that background. That is wonderful. To view the scheduled tasks, click on the scheduler library, which we can see right here. We'll scroll back up. You should see two scheduled tasks of interest. So it looks like we have the shadow copy, and then we have this just garbage named one with that lovely emoji that we saw on a previous day. That's wonderful. One with a weird name and the other related to VSS. Click on any of these scheduled tasks to populate more information about it, such as triggers and actions. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this. Looks like at logon, this is going to run, which is a nice trigger. And then what is actually going to happen is it's going to run this executable with the same name as the task. And then shadow copy, we can see that it's going to run the VSS admin create with a bunch of arguments there. And it looks like it's running at 7 a.m. and 12 p.m. So before the workday and then after the workday. That's kind of nice. Looks like it's weekly. Yeah, on the weekdays, I would imagine. So nice little, if updates have already run, it's already taken care of. If something happens during the workday that you need to roll back, you can do that the next day. Makes it nice and easy. At this point, you should realize that VSS is enabled, and thanks to the scheduled task, you know the ID of the volume. So we can see that probably within here. And I bet you if we click or hover over that, yeah, we can see our volume is at the end. The command to interact with VSS is VSS admin. Running the command alone will display brief information on how to run the utility with additional commands. Two commands of particular interest are list volumes and list shadows. So we can go ahead, we can see that here with the VSS admin, and then we have list shadows and list volumes. If you run VSS admin list volumes, you will see that the C drive has a different volume name /ID. There must be another volume on the endpoint. So it looks like we have that, and then we have a couple of these volumes here. You can use disk management to check into that. Disk management is a system utility within Windows that enables you to perform advanced storage tasks, and again, official definition from Microsoft's website. As with other utilities, disk management has been placed in the taskbar for your convenience. We'll go ahead and scroll down, and we can pull that up here. Pardon me. And we can see that it looks like we have a backup volume there. Pretty cool. And not too big. It looks like it's just 1 gig for the backup, but still, a backup is better than no backup. So let's go ahead and scroll down. I lost my place. As you can see, there is another volume, but you aren't able to view it within Windows Explorer. Right-click on the partition to view its properties. So if we go ahead and right-click, we can view properties. Now look at the security tab. We can do that over here. Confirm that the volume name /ID from the task scheduler and VSS admin output is similar to the object name of this partition. And we can view that within, let's see. There we go. The object name up here. I'm just blind. Also notice there is a tab titled Shadow Copies, which we can view up here. Review the information and close the properties window. And we'll close that now. In order to see this partition within Windows Explorer, you must assign it a drive letter. Right-click the partition and select Change Drive Letter and Paths. So if we go ahead and do this, we can change drive letter and paths, click Add, and then we can go ahead and we're just going to add it to the Z drive since that's what we're using as the other example. And there we go. At the top in the volume column, you should now see that the partition has a letter assigned to it, which we can see right over here. Open Windows Explorer and navigate to the partition. So if we open this up, you can also, fun fact, right-click on that and it should give you the Windows Explorer option. So if we click on this, looks like we have our nice backup. In the previous challenge, you managed to view hidden content in folders via the command line. You can do the same within Windows Explorer. In the menu, select View, and then there's a little checkbox right here, so we can click Hidden Items. I also really like to view file name extensions as well, so we'll check that while we're there. You should now see any hidden content right within Windows Explorer, which, sure enough, looks like we have a confidential folder. Back to VSS. To restore files to a previous version, simply right-click the folder and select Properties, and then select the Previous Versions tab. So if we do this, we'll go ahead and go to Properties, and then Previous Versions. And it looks like we have one from last week. Select which shadow copy you would like to restore, and click the Restore button. So if we do that here, we'll do that in a minute. Accept the confirmation to restore the shadow copy, and then close the Properties window and drill into the folder to find the restored files. So we're going to go ahead, and it looks like we want to decrypt the fake Bitcoin address within the ransom node. What is its plain text value? If we go to, we'll close this, and let's go ahead and go to here. Looks like this is just going to be a base 64. There we go. Copy that. That's just a base 64 address. Let's read this ransom note. It looks entertaining. As you were calmly looking at your documents, I encrypted all the workstations of the best festival company just now, including yours, Elf McEager. Wow, this was targeted. Send me lots and lots of money to the Bitcoin address. Typically, these have an amount, and maybe I'll give you the key to decrypt them with our emoji there. Yeah, typically these have an amount. All right, we've got that copied. I'm going to go and pull it up here, and we will grab this. And we'll go ahead. I'm going to minimize that for a second. Actually, we're not going to pull it out like that. And we'll open up a new tab in our terminal here. Base 64-D. Hold on, I'm going to have to echo this into that. There we go. So no more best festival company. Wow, that's dark. Oh gosh. Okay. Wow. They really didn't want to get their money, because I doubt that doesn't look like a real Bitcoin address to me. I don't know if it does to you guys. At times, ransomware changes the file extensions of encrypted files. What is the file extension for each of the encrypted files? Let's go ahead. We'll go back over here, get Ramina to come back up for us. And let's see what we got. If we go to our documents folder. .grinch. Nice. Very festive. What is the name of the suspicious scheduled task? I'm going to go ahead and just grab that from the desktop because it's just the same as this. SFS, DF. There we go. Inspect the properties of the scheduled task. What is the exact location of the executable that is run at login? It should just be the desktop, but we'll grab it from here to make it easier on ourselves. So we've got it here. Should be C users administrator desktop opid.sfs.df.exe. There's another scheduled task that is related to VSS. What is the shadow copy volume ID? So we can go ahead and get that. I am going to open this up, see if I can copy that, because I really don't want to type that shadow copy ID. Oh no, we might be typing it. Okay, let's see if we can go to properties. Actions. Yes, I'm going at great lengths to not type this. There we go. Oh, money. Right there. Copy that in. And we didn't have to type it. There we go. Yeah, that would probably take you a good few minutes to type. Assign the hidden partition a letter. What is the name of the hidden folder? Confidential. And then right-click and inspect the properties for the hidden folder. Use the previous versions tab to restore the encrypted file that is within this hidden folder to the previous version. What is the password within this file? So we'll go and close that. And if we go back here, we can go to the Z folder and right-click on confidential, properties, previous versions, restore. And we'll give it just a moment. And it looks like we have our master password. And lovely. Me password is secure. I mean, that would be hard to crack. It's not so secure now that we have it on our screen. But you know what? There we go. All right, that is going to do it for day 23. I will see you guys one last time tomorrow with day 24, the trial before Christmas. That is the special day that I've worked on with Mirrorled Oracle, Varg, and then Spooky as well. Should be a lot of fun. That being said, if you guys have any questions, I will have the TryHackMe Discord linked in the video description below. But until tomorrow, happy hacking.